rather be stuck in a forest with a man or a bear?
The bear. Bear.
Okay, let's put that to test.
Solomon! Papi! No! Papi!
Inside.
Interesting, right? I guess being a president is also all about the aura. Roar!
Don't get me wrong.
Then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple just like dominoes, one by one. They'll go down. That's why today I'm announcing my plan to shatter the left-wing censorship regime and to reclaim the right to free speech for all Americans. And reclaim is a very important word in this case because they've taken it away.
Because evil can create, but because evil can create but corrupt. Because evil can create but corrupt.
In recent weeks, bombshell reports have confirmed that a sinister group of deep state bureaucrats, Silicon Valley tyrants, left-wing activists, and depraved corporate news media have been conspiring to manipulate and silence the American people. They have collaborated to suppress vital information on everything from elections to public health. The censorship cartel must be dismantled and destroyed, and it must happen immediately. And here's my plan. First, within hours of my inauguration, I will sign an executive order banning any federal department or agency from colluding with any organization, business, or person to censor, limit, categorize, or impede the lawful speech of American citizens.
That is good. You don't want federal people be like, hey, we're going to use taxpayers' money to tell that platform how they have to think. That's wild. That's like a huge overreach, especially when it works on one side.
I will then ban federal money from being used to label domestic speech as mis- or disinformation. And I will begin the process of identifying and firing every federal bureaucrat who has engaged in domestic censorship, directly or indirectly, whether they are the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Health, Human Services, the FBI, the DOJ, no matter who they are. Second, I will order the...
That's a lot, directly or indirect. It might be an overreach if you have to think about it, but the way things are going, I still think you have to start somewhere. So you can start at least crushingly in the middle, and then you balance it out. Because the way things are going right now...
Department of Justice to investigate all parties involved in the new online censorship regime, which is absolutely destructive and terrible, and to aggressively prosecute any and all crimes identified. These include possible violations of federal civil rights law, campaign finance laws, federal election law, securities law, and antitrust laws, the Hatch Act, and a host of other potential criminal, civil, regulatory, and constitutional offenses. To assist in these efforts, I am urging House Republicans to immediately send preservation letters.
This is so good because if you send preservation letters, you can't delete anything anymore. Just like Hillary Clinton deleted all them emails, remember? If he does that, you can backtrack, be like, I'm not responsible. No, you're guilty. I want to see more guilty people because too many people are not guilty. They're just saying, oh, you're not allowed to work anymore, but you work very well the way I think. Go work there.
And we have to do this right now. To the Biden administration, the Biden campaign, and every Silicon Valley tech giant, ordering them not to destroy evidence of censorship.
Yes.
Third, upon my inauguration as president, I will ask Congress to send a bill to my desk revising Section 230 to get big online platforms out of censorship business. From now on, digital platforms...
And then a whole bunch of people going to be like, yeah, they're a private platform. I'm like, yes.
I understand that it's a private platform, but don't you think that it's problematic when all of the private platforms act in unison and collusion in order to stop people from having certain opinions across all of the internet? Like whenever you own a massive amount of a market share and you're working with other people that own the remaining amounts of that market share and you're making decisions unilaterally, you are effectively a monopoly and you need to be regulated.
Yep.
But at the same time, federally, they're like, hey man, you can't post that because so and so. I'm like, what are you? Are you a private platform or the other side that anybody can post anything they want? You can't have both advantages.
Should only qualify for immunity protection under Section 230 if they meet high standards of neutrality, transparency, fairness, and non-discrimination.
Yes, if you want to apply that gangster stuff, you need to apply it on both sides. Then I don't mind. The fact that my webpage on Facebook is banned for 10 freaking years just because I agree with Kamala freaking Harris is wild.
We should require these platforms to increase their efforts to take down unlawful content
Yes.
such as child exploitation
100%.
and promoting terrorism while dramatically curtailing their power to arbitrarily restrict lawful. Fourth, we need to break up the entire toxic censorship industry that has arisen under the false guise of tackling so-called mis- and disinformation. The federal government should immediately stop funding all nonprofits and academic programs that support this authoritarian project.
Why would I fund something for free when their mission is to find something, to prove something? Of course they're going to find something because that gives them a job. Why would they not find it? I'm like,
If any U.S. university is discovered to have engaged in censorship activities or election interferences in the past, such as flagging social media content for removal of blacklisting, those universities should lose federal research dollars and federal student loan support for a period of 5 years and maybe more.
ooh, 5 years? Ooh, they're going to change their mind immediately. That's like, hey man, if you don't give me that husband, no sex for 5 years. He will change. Well, he might cheat. Hey, university might cheat. Let's see. I don't think they can do that without money.
We should also enact new laws laying out clear criminal penalties for federal bureaucrats who partner with private entities to do an end run around the Constitution and deprive Americans of their First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment rights. In other words, deprive them of their vote. And once you lose those elections, and once you lose your borders like we have, you no longer have a country. Furthermore, to confront the problems of major platforms being infiltrated by legions of former deep staters and intelligence officials, there should be a 7-year cooling off period before any employee of the FBI, CIA, NSA, DNI, DHS, or DOD is allowed to take a job at a company possessing vast quantities of U.S. user data.
Just like it has happened on Twitter before Elon Musk was there. There were so many people doing FBI, CIA. It has been confirmed, well, we don't have a job anymore. We're going to work at Twitter thinking the same way. It should be applied on both sides, but it's generally on one side right now.
Fifth, the time has finally come for Congress to pass a digital Bill of Rights. This should include a right to digital due process. In other words, government officials should need a court order to take down online content, not send information requests such as the FBI was sending to Twitter. Furthermore, when users of big online platforms have their content or accounts removed, throttled, shadow banned, or otherwise
That's me.
restricted, no matter what name they use, they should have the right to be informed that it's happening, the right to a specific explanation of the reason why,
Yes.
and the right to a timely appeal. In addition, all users over the age of 18 should have the right to opt out of content moderation and curation entirely and receive an unmanipulated stream of information if they so choose. The fight for free speech is a matter of victory or death for America, and for the survival of Western civilization itself. When I am president, this whole rotten system of censorship and information control will be ripped out of the system at large.
Thank you.
There won't be anything left. By restoring free speech, we'll begin to reclaim our democracy and save our nation. Thank you, and God bless America.
And I understand right now that Trump is full about free speech because, hey, it's going to benefit him. He might change in the future, who knows? But I don't think we actually have to, because there's so much on the internet with inconsistency right now on the left.
Scott, is it?
Look, I don't like this, because what's Donald Trump supposed to think? You know, he's sitting down there, he's the president-elect, and now he's got to read in the newspaper tonight that the unelected bureaucracy of the federal government is having meetings at some level about how to thwart or countermand the commander-in-chief. I don't care if it's at the Pentagon or at the HUD or Ag Department. It doesn't matter. The unelected bureaucracy of this government answers to the civilian and duly elected leadership that we just did. And what if you were in his shoes and you just won the popular vote with a clear mandate, and now you got to read that these unelected bureaucrats are plotting against you? What would you think? If
But
they
I
have
think there's a
problems,
reason
if
for
they
that,
let me
though.
finish. If they have problems, they should not have meetings that then leak to the press. If they have ideas or things, they should call the president's office and say, hey, we'd like to have some discussions for planning purposes. But secret meetings that leak, terrible way to get off to a start with the new administration.
Well, I agree that that's maybe not the best way to do it. However, Trump has set them up to be in this situation where they think that he's coming after them.
What are you talking about? If the majority of the people think like that and they have the popular vote, what you're also saying, you're against the popular vote. I might think.
Think. Republican Senator Mitch McConnell is already trying to undercut the Trump agenda you voted for. Now, I said after Trump got elected that it was our job as conservative creators on this platform to hold the Republican Party accountable to do what they said they were going to do. We're going to start with that sneaky sack of shit, Mitch McConnell. So Senator McConnell has called for early leadership votes. He wants to hold a secret ballot on Wednesday to decide the Senate Majority Leader. And he's only allowing 3 people to run. Now, 2 of those people are completely against what Trump wants to do. They are completely against what we all just voted for, especially that fucking liberal John Cornyn. Now, out of these 3, there's only 1 that's on board with the agenda. There's only 1 that's actually going to help Trump accomplish everything he promised to do and everything we voted for. That's Senator Rick Scott. Now, anybody that's been following me for a while knows I have my own criticisms of Rick, but in comparison to those other 2, he's amazing. And most important of all, he is the only one out of those 3 who is actually going to work to push Trump's agenda. The agenda we all just voted for. If we install one of those other 2 as a Senate Majority Leader, this shit is going to get held up. All the bills are going to have to come with special favors for the left and for private organizations. The only way we're going to be able to actually get shit done is with Rick Scott as the Senate Majority Leader. Like I said, the election is on Wednesday. So anybody who voted for Trump and actually wants him to execute his agenda, you need to reach out to your congressman or woman. You need to let them know that you are not going to stand by and let them install some liberal to run the Senate. That's not what we voted for. We voted for the Trump agenda. We voted for the actual clearing of the swamp and voting out people like Mitch McConnell. But don't let Mitch McConnell put a stop to this before it even gets started. Because make no mistake, if he puts in one of those other 2, nothing is getting done. If he puts in one of those other 2, we might as well not even have won the Senate. And don't worry, we're going to deal with Mitch McConnell and those other 2 in the next election. But until then, they need to get the out of the way and let Trump do what we voted for him to do. So contact your congressman or woman and let them know that 1, you don't want a secret ballot. You want to know exactly who every one of these senators is voting for. Number 2, let them know you want Rick Scott. Let them know you want an actual Republican, not a liberal who just pretends so he can get a...
It's very simple, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine if you want to eat a pizza, but 2 of the vegetarians are going to decide what you can put on your freaking pizza.
But you can't scream about democracy and then have a guy run the table like this and not say, well, it's a mandate, right? Is that right or wrong? Is it a mandate?
Yes, the Harvard Institute of Politics student president came out with an op-ed today talking about how they weren't going to forego democracy for the sake of nonpartisanship. Set aside that they might have wanted to talk to a lawyer before saying their nonprofit was now going to be a partisan organization. But the idea that you're going to be pro-democracy by not giving a voice and allowing other students to hear from speakers that belong to the party that just won through a democratic process, like that's where the left has a problem. They become the party of the faculty lounge. They're so condescending. They're so arrogant. And again, not to beat the dead horse, the whole point is to be exclusionary. They're not accidentally exclusionary. It's the mission statement.
And that is the place that we are right now. We're so much there for so long, it became a culture. So the moment you want to push it, you're breaking my they start going crazy.
We learned two things about Kamala this election. She's good at raising money and she's good at blowing it. But money can't buy you elections, especially when you spend it like she did. She raked in more than $1 billion and is somehow now in debt. The Washington Examiner dug through her financial statements and gave us a good clue why. Kamala's campaign was getting whacked like a piñata while D.C. leeches hoovered up all the cash. She spent over $50 million on payroll. Trump's campaign spent less than 10. Another $12 million went to consultants, and $20 million went to their little concerts with Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Christina Aguilera, John Bon Jovi, remember him? They even had to cancel a performance by Alanis Morissette because they were running low on cash. Isn't that ironic? Campaign insiders are mad at the bosses for wasting donor money on concerts instead of ads about, the economy. Quote, they said they were spending to zero. I guess they overshot zero. Ads would have gone a lot further than the pricey celebrity endorsements. One campaign source said people were concerned about their own financial issues, not Oprah telling them America won't exist. But it worked out nicely for Oprah. She got her friend Kamala to pay her $1 million to interview her in September. $1 million. Now, if she thought she was saving democracy, she should have done it for free. Kamala scared donors by calling Trump a dictator, got $1 billion, then just gave it to her friends, and blew the rest on being a diva. Kamala went on a podcast, remember Call Her Daddy? But she didn't want to go to their studio in L.A., so she made the host fly to D.C., and used campaign cash to build a fake set in a hotel room. She spent more than $100,000 to build it. That set, see it? 2 chairs, a coffee table, and a bookshelf. That's 6 figures. Now, we looked at the set. We probably could have done it for around $6,000. That's without labor. But where'd the rest of the money go? We don't know. So she's still trying to soak folks for cash. 24 hours after the election, on Wednesday, Democrats got a text from the campaign. Urgent. We need help. Donate now. Help with what? You lost. If this is how she's going to spend her donors' dollars, imagine what she would have done with our taxes.
But now you know why she lost. Because I'm doing this for free, just like many other Trump supporters that might do it for a way lower cash bundle.
Don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Putta fire na mi blonde, kush hash, purple skunk, criollo, colombici, jam jam, turloqueta, verdetta, welcome.